Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real-Time Painting Superior Spider-Man. I've already done the background, which was in parts 1 and 2 of the Real-Time Superior Spider-Man Digipaint. So now I'm going to light him and clean him up and do a little bloom lighting, little rim lighting, spiffy him up, tie him into the art. I got a grip of work here to do on this web stuff too. It's kind of didn't make it all the way across the page. And that's because when I drew it, it was actually went like this far to 11 by 14. So, um, so anyway, let me just go ahead and get started. Brandon's going to join me here in a minute, so that should be fun. So you can at least see my roughie. I need to open up my shade file. Open. Grad maps. Open. Okay. All right. Where's my pen of choice? Take that down to 50%. So the first thing I'm going to do is all these little white highlights, I need to fix all that. So I'll just set this to darken. And what that'll do is it'll fill in light areas. Hey, what up?
Hey, it took me like 4 tries to get Google Hangouts to work on my end. Kept freezing. It's weird.
Hey, put your mic closer to your mouth.
How about there?
A little better. Turn your volume up. Because mine's got you cranked all the way up.
Okay. Better?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right. Is this the Superior Spider Man, right?
Yep.
Nice. And the background's all done? Oh, nice. Yeah, it looks good. Was this one of the tiers on the Kickstarter?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Heroic pack. Already I got people like, I want to get that, and I'm like, I haven't sent the survey out yet.
Oh, for on what they want to see.
Oh, that's Facebook. Yeah, so last night was fun.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Seemed like it from the
Mm.
text I got. I was a little jealous. How long did it last? How long were you?
From 4 to 10.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a real experience.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, hey, 90 minutes,
Right.
the whole thing.
How many people were there?
25,
That's
including
it.
me. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
everyone flew in, or everyone. I kept my mouth shut until they made me like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Hmm, 10 minutes down the street." Like, they're like, "Ah," because everyone had these horror stories about getting there and the
Uh-huh.
TSA and losing their luggage. I'm like, "Hey, now, so you know, Rosecrans is a bitch." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was
You're like, I hit
like,
so many red lights on the way here.
I was like, hey, look, Waze tells you 5 minutes, but that shit could take 7. You know, like, but the guys who work there were laughing because they know it's true. That street's not cool, man. Like it is a personal kind of, Rosecrans or a whole, I don't know. You know, like getting down the street it's almost like a New York thing, dude. It's probably the worst stretch of road in San Diego, honestly.
uh,
Um,
what was the farthest someone came from?
uh, East Coast, man. We had Pittsburgh, Cleveland. We had fucking Maine. Yeah, yeah.
That's a trip.
Vegas. Huh? Technically, the guy that was gonna go originally, well, he would have been the furthest because he came from he was gonna go from the UK, but he's like, I can't leave.
Right.
This all came down because I was just being like a cool guy, dude. Like, so one of my backers from the Digibooks got that Mononoke commission,
Uh-huh.
and so he's up in LA. And when he was going to Comic Con this past summer, he uh he got an extra he got the preview night, but the hotel couldn't for some reason like screwed him and he had nowhere to stay that night, right?
Mhm.
So he just went on Facebook with like, hey, if anyone's in that area. So then I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? You can crash on my fucking couch because every Comic Con someone's always crashing over here. I just
Right.
try to I try to be the good Samaritan. I mean, there's always someone I know who's stranded for a night.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, dude. And he's like, what if I'm like a murderer? I'm like, well, I have a gun, so you know what I mean? Like, you'll be a dead murderer, like, before the night's up, bro. But no, he's a cool guy. So he's a cinematographer up in LA. So he's also like helps run this Usagi Yojimbo fan club.
Oh, okay.
So I gave him that Usagi sketch and shit too, right? Anyway, the guy who he gave that to is a friend of his out in the UK, and so he wanted to do this thing, and my buddy up in LA was like, well, I know this guy Rob, and he figured since I'm closer, he would have to drive down. Plus, might help me, career wise. He's like, well, maybe it'll help me. I don't know. Like, if I was just an artist going there, I don't know how. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
you're not really there for that. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to. But so they said, hey, you want to go? All I have to do is ship this guy's shit to him. I'm like, hey, as long as you cover the postage, I don't care. So, um, but yeah, dude. So it was good times. It was good fun. So got all this shit up to him. But when I was there, Uh, so if people don't know, back in 2005, I met a guy named Adam Kogan, and me to he wanted to create this book together. We're going to do this book called the code. The working name was Family Vacation. It's about this family that goes to this island. They have this tour guide, and there's this whole. I had this casino thing, and this family. You ever see a movie called Summer Rental with
No.
John Candy? Like it's from the 80s. So I had this idea that it'd be like a cross between Summer Rental and like a Willy Wonka kind of thing or something. Anyway, so he was gonna write it and draw, and I was gonna draw it. And he was doing a lot of books at the time. He's a game developer. He had this book called Villains. Ryan Cody
Okay.
drew
Okay.
that. That's the book I wanted to actually draw, and Ryan had already like drew it overnight. He's like, "Oh, Ryan drew it." I'm like, I like Ryan. He's a nice guy, but I was like, I could I could do this a lot better. Oh fuck. So he had this family vacation thing. I did all these designs for it. Long story short, it didn't pan out. So I said, hey Adam, rather than me spend another year uh, waiting for you to write this fucking thing, is there anything you have now I could just draw, right? Because I don't, I just want to fucking get to making a comic book because it was like going on a year.
Right.
We were coming up on Comic Con, and I wanted to start pitching books, and so he had two things. One was called Mosaic, and in his head it was this thing about this dimension that pulls all these dimensions in, and he had it as a Mignola kind of thing, like this dark kind of like Mignola Gaidias, like. And when I read it, I saw Labyrinth, the Henson film,
Mm.
and I was like, what if this is less like Mignola and more like the Dark Crystal and Labyrinth and shit. And so like, yeah, I mean, you think it'll work? I'm like, yeah, I think it'll work. So I did those test pages, and then we took it to con and sold the book to Image. It was really nice. So and it never got made. It's long story. So anyway, walking around, Adam was like, "Hey, you want to meet you a fan of Turtles?" I'm like, "Yeah, Because he knew I was. He was just asking. He's like,
Right.
"Hey, you want to meet Kevin Eastman?" I'm like, yeah, I mean, I know Kevin. He's like, yeah, we're cousins. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, on my wife's side. He married my wife's cousin, and he slept on my couch a few times. I'm like, sure. So he
Okay.
took me over there and introduced me to Kevin. And well, I mean, I've met as a fan. I mean, like since my first Comic Con in '92. Like I only went to Comic Con to get two signatures, Bob Kane and Kevin
Right.
Eastman. And I was more on Kevin Eastman's than Bob Kane's actually. Like
Mm.
so. Uh, I got to meet Kevin, and Kevin looked at my samples and said, "Hey, you got some talent." I'm like, "Thank you." He's like, "Actually, I got this thing I'm trying to do. I drew. Would you be willing to do some coloring work for me?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Right.
So that was unexpected. Adam was like, "Whoa, I didn't." You know what I mean? I was just, that's cool, right? He's like, "You still gonna get the book done?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll get the book done, Kevin, Adam." So Kevin had me color these storyboards that he was pitching for animation at the time called Biz and Buzz, which is these two characters based off him, Simon Bisley.
Mm.
these two little drunk characters that just run around and get fucked up and shit. And there's a part of me that likes that sort of avant-garde cartoon liquid television. Look, it's
Right.
very liquid TV. You know what I mean? Like it would fit right in there. If they still had a liquid TV, the shit would have been made by now. So he called me, called me up. He spent like 2 hours on the phone, bro, just telling me turtle stories and all the questions I ever had about like how he colored shit or did shit. He just answered.
Right.
So then he sent me the storyboards and this little package and gave me a bunch of books and shit. Sent me a bunch of free shit and loaded the work up for him. And he, lo and behold, sent me a fucking paycheck. Like, you know? And it was cool, man. So I haven't seen him since.
Right.
And I mean, I had his phone number for the longest time, but that phone died, and that phone I went away. And I don't know. I've never been like, what am I gonna hit him up to do? I don't draw like, I don't see myself in heavy metal. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
know. So I don't know. Anyhow, so this came up. I said, well, it'd be good to say at least say, hey, remember me? You know what I mean? Just want to say thank you for, because I mean, out of all the years I've done work with people, none of them have ever been. I mean, like when you think about the celebrities, they
Right.
generally, they generally get you to spend your money, and then they don't pay you, and you know what I mean. Like it's a fucking nightmare, bro. Like
Yeah.
especially with Hollywood people working with them. And Kevin was like just just a down to earth dude. You know what I mean? Like, and so I go to this thing, and I just I didn't come right out and say this shit. It went on a few hours, and then we had this part where you get the grab bag, and then they have all these books and shit you got with this stuff, and you can get extra shit signed because everything in the bags are already signed, before you
Hmm.
get there. He's like, hey, you can bring up to 5 things and get signed. So the the guy that I was doing the stuff for wanted me to get 2 books, and then he's like, hey, whatever you want. And I have nothing for Kevin to sign, man. You know what I mean? He signed a
Right.
check. That's like the coolest thing for me. I'm like, look, I'm the only guy here who Kevin's paid personally. You know what I
Right.
mean? So um, it was a little annoying to sit through all the how do become an artist draw thing questions from, you know what I mean? Like, but I was like, well, what can you do? People have questions.
Right.
So I get out there and he's got this card. He's doing a little sketch. This little TNT sketch he does, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Square head, bandana
yeah, he
hat.
does. Yeah, the one he can do in 2 minutes.
Right.
And so I'm like, hey, I just want to say thank you. And you could just tell he was just like waiting for the thank you for my childhood. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I was kind of timing it just to see how he'd react.
Uh-huh.
And as I start to go, you could see him just kind of. And then I'm like, yeah, you let me color these Biz and Buzz storyboards like a few years back, and then he stops and he looks at me. He goes, "Rob." I'm like, "Hey," he's like, "Dude, oh my god!" Like I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, that's amazing." I'm like, and everyone's looking at me like, "Who's this guy?"
Right. Who are you? I'm like, Kevin.
Yeah, because there was a couple hoity-toity collectors there who were like, "I bought this from you, Kevin, and I bought that from you." You know what I mean? They were going out of their way to let you know how important they were.
Yeah.
And one of them was like classic ginger asshole. Like because this guy was a dick, dude. Anyway, and so I just, then he was like, "Oh my god," and he's like, "Yeah, I just showed this off, and we're going into, we're trying to put it into production, and it'd be really awesome if you could like, and I'm like, "Yeah," he's like, "Here, let me give you my, get your phone, I get my phone," and he gave him my phone, and everyone's looking at me. I'm like. He's like,
That's
"What'd
right.
you want me
Good
to do?" I'm like,
genes.
"Oh, I've been doing it." He's like, "Well, I just started doing covers for IDW actually." And then everyone looks at me. I'm like, "Yeah, Skylanders, like, it's fucking. It was great, man. Like I turned the table, and from there, it was like, it was like, "Oh, so you're an artist?" I'm like, yeah, yeah, full time. Yeah, that's full time." Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah, it's good times.
Well, hopefully, in my mind, this is how I play it out. Hopefully, he sees your turtle stuff and he's like, "Hey, this guy should do a turtles cover." Then that'd be cool.
Yeah, well, we'll see, man. I've learned with the turtles to just be patient. You
One
know,
day. One
one
day.
day. If not, whatever.
Right.
I'll make my own. It'll look like this, and they'll be like, "Why isn't that?" I love it when people go, "Why aren't you doing anything?" You know, like
Because you're busy rocking the heck out of those Skyliner covers. What when do they come out?
the what?
The Skyliner covers you did.
I don't know.
Uh,
You think they tell you this? Like,
well, I didn't know if, like, let's
put it
say,
this way: I don't know when they'll come out. I don't. I doubt I'll ever get a copy from IDW. You understand what I'm saying?
right,
Like how it works, man, is that you do the work, you turn it in. You're lucky if they say thank you, you know, and hopefully they pay quickly once you invoice. I mean, that's it, bro.
right,
And then you just is there something else? And if, you know, and then if not, you have to start looking for more work, Brandon. You know, there's
mm,
no big celebratory like it'll be here, it'll be there. You just that's it. And sometimes, you know, and you've experienced this with those motion comics, like they just don't answer the phone or they don't contact you
right,
until like, you know, the weekend before they need some shit.
and
That's
then
how
all of a sudden you're dead to them and you never hear from them again.
that's how it is. Like
Yeah,
in this case, it's not that way because now I'm doing the regular covers. So I don't know that one I did with, you know, Fiesta. That's a variant thing. I don't know, you know, but I know with the one I just did with the dive clops, that's for the actual main run, you know. So
I
it's not
think
gonna come out next month, you know.
I
We'll
think
see.
my favorite part of that whole thing is when I didn't hear from them ever again, and then I see them at cons, and they go, "Hey, what have you been up to? How you been?" It's like, "I'm good, I'm good," but it's like nothing. No, we're done
That's
with
why you
you.
should have been able to. Yeah, I've got my own line of motion comics, Brandon. You understand what I'm saying? Like this is why I try to really push you to do more shit. You know, when you see these people, then you're like, yeah, I make my own shit now. You know, one, they can go suck a dick, dude, because like you didn't fucking need them. Two, it's actually how you show that you're worth more than they thought you were. You know, and then you'd be surprised what comes back your way. You know, like right now, I show what I can color to Kevin, and I mean, in 7 years, you know, you know, you can't even argue.
Right,
I can do now compared to then. I look, clients are like it's like ex-girlfriends, man. You know, like the next time you see your ex, you want to be in good shape. You want to have a good job going on. You want life good, right?
right.
That's what you want. And anything short of that is just your own. You know, you're just confirming why they never bothered. Yeah, fucking whatever. Nobody can fucking say, you know, oh, that fucking, you know, so glad we don't have that guy around. That's why I find it downright fucking hilarious when certain individuals ask me to work for free, you know? Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? You know?
Yeah.
Fuck you. So, another news, we got the first episode of Super Couchboard up.
Oh, nice.
So, working on episode 2.
Oh, so it's on the YouTube channel right now.
Yeah, it's on there now. I'm gonna give it a few episodes, and then I'll probably I'm gonna try to get the time down to like 4 minutes on the next one, just to cut the workload down.
Uh-huh.
And then after 3 or 4 of them, then I'll really spruce up the super. I actually have a page dedicated to it. So I gotta make a group of. I gotta double the expressions. A lot of like pausing expressions I need to. Simple smiles and poses. So, alternate it a bit more. I think it'll take about 3 or 5 before.
You hit your stride.
Yeah.
Did you see the Star Wars picture with the Death Star looking thing?
Star Killer Base.
The what?
Star Killer Base.
Uh,
Yes. Before you.
well, I know.
I've
Well,
seen it.
okay, let me try. Let me try this. Hey, Rob, let's talk about
Right.
that Death Star looking thing that I don't know the name of it in Star
Yeah.
Wars. That
I
looks
know.
pretty cool.
I know. I know you don't.
So let's talk about Star Killer Base.
No. You'll know more tomorrow with the trailer.
Hey, Rob, tomorrow after the trailer, we should talk about that Death Star looking thing. I don't know the name of.
I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it. Yeah, it doesn't mean much to me. It's a plot device. I'm more interested in character arcs and actors' performances and the general film than I am. I've never cared about.
You think this will be the last trailer before the movie comes out?
Yeah, I don't have to do anything else.
Right. It's gonna
Yeah.
break records.
Comes out in 70 days, 60 something days, dude. 60
Nice.
days.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
actually, to the day, 2 months from now, 60 days as of today,
That's
it
crazy.
comes out. Yeah.
Me and Jessica were talking about that last night, like how just crazy it is that, a couple years ago you're like, yeah, they may never make another Star Wars movie, and now it's like we get to see new Star Wars movies starting in
Bro, what's
2 years.
crazy is I sat there and said what they needed to do in a room full of fucking executives concerning the Star Wars license, and they're doing exactly what I said they need to do, down to the fucking people making it. And that's what blows my fucking mind.
Right.
Honest to God, man. I hate to be like, well, I called this, bro. I called JJ Abrams. I mean, it's just fucking crazy. Like, you know, the time frame. If they start here, they'll have to get there, which means this will have to be in here. You know, they're going to need to start cranking one out every year if they can't have a 3 year gap in between films, given the way Marvel's running shit. Like, and they were just like people. They asked how we can make T-shirts sell, and I gave them a fucking. How can I make more shirts sell? And I'm like, I had like a business plan. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everyone looked at me, well, that's never gonna happen, Rob. That was the so we got to like think about how to make this shit sell now. I'm like, it won't until all these things happen. And then literally 1 month later is when they announced J.J. Abrams. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, get the fuck out. Because even I was like, well, I don't know, like if he'd even do that, because everyone said, like, my pick would be J.J. or Brad Bird. I mean, J.J. just made Star Trek, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't say it wouldn't happen because stranger shit's happen. I don't think anyone in Hollywood cares about that shit.
Right.
Actually, these days, I think if you did a Star Trek, then it's like, oh, you can handle a big thing. You know what I mean? Like ensemble piece. Um, but I'm like, just based off Super 8, and everything else he's done, I was like, he's the dude. And I was like, I'd pick a Brad Bird too. That'd be my choices, but I don't know.
Right. I haven't watched many interviews, but did J.J. Abrams ever say he did Star Wars just or Star Trek just because he wanted to do Star Trek, or he wanted to do like a Star Wars type movie and
He
then he
didn't
found
want to
out?
do it, but he thought a way to do it. And he never thought he'd get to direct a Star Wars movie. That would be the closest thing to it. So they put Star Wars into the movie. Why it's more like Star Wars and less like Star Trek. Everyone who watches the film goes, "It's more Star Wars." I mean, look, he's even sitting on his fucking bike looking at the sun, bro. You know what I mean? Like he's looking at the ship. You know,
Right.
in a bar, getting into fights, talking to Obi-Wan about his dad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's Star Wars. Like it's stranded on a fucking ice planet. He's Obi-Wan. So they blow up a planet. Kill a whole race of peaceful beings, you know? So, but that's what's weird. The weirdest part to me is that actually, and every time something would happen, Joe would just be looking back at me like fucking Rob, you know, because he was there in that meeting.
Right.
And he's like, "It's freaking crazy, dude." Like I'm like, well, you know, we're gonna see if I was right. That's the for me. It's just like, well, will this all work? You know, like I've always said, the movies need more Kurosawa. They need more of the Western, you know, and they need less Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, no chosen one bullshit, you know. People who make decisions, good or bad, and suffer the consequences, good or bad. When you become a Jedi, it's not. I had a discussion with Joey once on the stream where he was like, "If you could be a, you know, in Star Wars, would you be a Jedi?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I would." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you got power issues, dog. Being a Jedi, nothing's good ever come from being a Jedi. Name one positive thing that came from being a Jedi. Name one." Luke
Uh,
lost a fucking hand. Can't you know what I mean? Like
right.
found out he was had a sister and the only girl he ever loved. You know, I don't know about that. You know, like nothing good from being a Jedi. I'll you know I'll take a Wedge Antilles or a Han Solo career any day of the fucking week in the Star Wars galaxy versus Jedi. They're a fucking target. Whole
Yeah.
Empire will gun after you. They're willing to murder your whole family just to fuck with you. Like I don't need that kind of trouble. You know, like I don't have power complex, man.
Right.
Like freedom. You got a starship, you can go anywhere. That's how I rule. Um, and more than even this movie, I'm looking forward to the Rogue One, the first anthology film.
Hmm.
That it's not that it's like it's how the battle plans for Yavin. Normally I wouldn't care, but it's going to be the first. It's going to be the first. It's set during right before Episode 4, so you're gonna have Vader in it. You know what I mean? You're gonna have no Jedi in that movie, bro. Not rebels. Trying to survive. Donnie Yen's in that movie. Can't wait. That's part of Blade 2, guy with the sword. Not get to do enough in that movie. Yeah, but I had to get that IDW cover done before I went to that thing. Otherwise, they see my Instagram, so
Right.
I'd be at Twitter or whatever, and they'd be like, "Why are you at IDW party when you got shit to do?" Like never hear the end of that one.
I'm doing research. I'm here at the place.
Ugh. The whole background took 5 hours.
On the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's not bad, dude. Considering, I mean, I did. I would like to get a whole piece done in 4, but I mean, you know,
Right.
considering I could have spent 4 hours just drawing all these things before I even colored it. You know what I mean? Like if I was to actually just sit down and draw a bunch of buildings and
Turned out good though. I like it. I like the style of it.
yeah. Well, this is like how I see shit. I just up until now I haven't been able to actually make it. There's no shit. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know. I mean, I could do it if I could took like 4 weeks on one piece. It's been trying to get this shit down to like, how can I do this in like, an 8 hour period?
Right.
You know. Like, I don't know. So, oh, that's what. What I like about this process better than say doing it all in 3D is, look, man. I mean, you know how hard it is to get this shit in the windows. You imagine trying to like scribble in office rooms in there.
Right.
Like all this. Like bullshit. Like you can't. All you can do is create a bunch of fucking lines, and then you have to sit there and manually paint all that shit in. I have to do shit.
Right.
Let's get the focus on the glows, which is my favorite part. Oh, motherfucker. I gotta get this done, and then I gotta get 4 pages of Skylanders thumbed out and sent over for approval. And if I can get all that done by 9, then I'm going to play some Dragon Quest for a couple hours. And then I'm going to get all the Mass Effects printed out onto board before I go to sleep. And if that goes by easy and I have some time, then I will work on my Saucy Night development. But that's a big if. I was supposed to be done with this yesterday. Whatever. The dinner got in the way, put it that way.
It's good though.
Filter, sharpen, and sharp mask. Unsharp mask, motherfucker. Filter, noise, add noise. 8. No.
One second, someone knocked on my door. Be right back.
112. Screen.
All right, I'm back.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Maintenance has got to work on our dishwasher here. I just asked him if he can come back in like 20, 30 minutes. They got to something with the drains not draining right, so all the water gets clogged up at the bottom. So, anyways, did I miss anything?
It's coloring.
I know, I'm just joking.
I think I'm
Okay.
gonna have to redo. I don't know. We'll get to that.
What's the next one after Spider-Man? Do you know or haven't decided yet?
Huh? I gotta get the Mass Effect sauces
Oh, the
painted.
Mass Effect. Okay, it just zoned out there for a second.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
get those, and then the night sauces, and then the Guyver.
I remember at con people really did love the Mass Effect.
And I have to keep them in the same format and layout that I did the other
Right, the
one.
alien guy and the girl, right? I don't know their
Yeah,
names.
Thane. So they're already designed. I just have to transfer them to boards and start painting.
Did you watch the Rick and Morty finale?
Not yet.
Oh man.
I will.
All right, I'll wait.
Did you get your work done yet, man? Just because I don't fucking ask you about it, don't mean the shit shouldn't be done already.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. You know, I'm gonna be honest, Brandon. If you fuck this up, I'm just gonna stop working with you on stuff. You know what I mean? We can be friends, but I'm just gonna stop. I'll just work with your wife. You know? Because I can't. I don't have it in me to do it anymore. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I just all right
Brandon,
then. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
I'm just letting you know. You know, like
All right.
it's
I don't.
since Comic Con, you've done jack squat. Name one thing you've completed.
You're right.
No. Don't placate me. You know, if you got something to fucking
I'd rather not get into it over the recording of
right,
what.
I know health and family and shit to do, whatever. A year from now, what you'll have a list of excuses.
Sure.
Yeah, don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. You know? I'm probably completely wrong about it or being inappropriate. You know, you should have a healthy career doing sketch colors. You know, what do I know? You and
Nah.
Jeff Pena and all those cats will make $1 million and become rich and famous. I don't know.
So now you're just being an ass.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed in you, dude. I just know you got talent. You know.
No, it's not for it's just I don't tell you everything because, and I don't know if you want to get into it over this. It's just
No, I'm sure it's legit, but it's not this. It's everything. Then see, here's the thing. When you don't do things when there isn't legit shit going on, then when legit shit goes on, you're like, you see what I'm saying?
I get it. I 100% get it.
Whatever. I went through the same thing once with two other people. And
Well, I doubt my situation's different than theirs, but
no, they just didn't want to do anything. I'm sure you got a lot of legitimate reasons. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not your boss. Just a guy who cares.
and I appreciate it. And I'm not trying to not do the things I'm supposed to do.
Well, as long as you fix the caps locks issue when you type, that'd be a start.
It's my it's my favorite thing to do.
Type in all caps.
I like to get hyped up and just yell at people. Look at my art. Thank you.
This is art I made. My favorite. It doesn't scream Chinese robot.
All
Yeah.
I needed was just like a spam link to it. Check out art by new famous artists, and then some link to enter your credit card.
Some fucking printer streak ran through my piece. It was a scanner. See, there's horizontal line running through the fucking art.
Where at?
It's right here. Very faint. I can see it. Filter, blur. Hmm.
You guys ever have like festivals near your house, like food festivals or anything?
Near our house or in my house?
Near your house, like where you don't have to drive
Yeah, they
like a
got
long
them.
way.
They only do this one international thing once a year that fucking it always is one night, and that's the one night it fucking rains in San Diego. Like it's down in Balboa Park. It's pretty cool. In the last 8 years, it's literally 8 years. It's rained every fucking time that night, not the night before, not the night after. So I've been trying to take the significant other there for 8 plus years.
Right,
Never has never happened. You know, we went
right,
once. We just said fuck it. When it rained, we went and got ridiculously sick. You know, so I was like, I don't know why that's the day. So they used to have these things in Germany when I was there. They do every Christmas. It's really nice to get these hot wines and shit and a million different festivals. I like it when it's Christmas. Other than that, I don't know. The problem is I don't like a lot of Californians. You know
right,
what I mean? I don't want to piss off some of my fellow Californian fans since I am a Californian to say I generally don't like Californians.
right,
You know, if you're an art lover, then you're an exception to the rule. But if
right.
you've been here,
Many, many, many times.
not exactly. So when you got to go out I went to this wine festival once, and there were just a bunch of fucking assholes everywhere. And it's not that way everywhere. They're trying to tell me, oh, it's just because you know people. I'm like, no, that's not it. You know.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess the Oktoberfest thing was this weekend, but I couldn't do anything because I had that thing last night.
I think you chose the right thing though.
Right. Well, Oktoberfest. Yeah. You imagine if I told that to people? What? Yeah, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I passed on seeing Kevin Eastman to go get drunk or
Well, there
whatever.
was free beer and wine there, so you could have just got drunk there if you wanted to. So there's this dude, man. So I sat down with these two guys, and during the dinner, and they're like, "Dude, the bar was open for us. It's on their tab." So they're like, "Hey, just get a drink." You know what I mean?
Right,
So I'm like, "Hey, get a glass of wine," because I already had a beer. I'm like, "Oh, I can have a beer and a wine, and I'm tapped. Like that's me.
right.
I'll have a glass of wine." And sitting down with these two dudes, and the guy left to the right had a full beard, the other guy had a half beard, then I have my stubble. I'm like, hey, look, we're all like at different stages. So they're from Vegas, we're shooting the shit. The dude with the beard looks like Pendleton Ward. Comes down, he has this little shot, and I look at him like, that's Scotch? He's like, yeah. And he named off some brand, and the guy across from him was like, you really ordered that? And I'm like, these two guys, they're like the hitmen that knew each other for a long time, right? So I'm like, oh. So that's he's like, yeah, he's like, dude, that that shot of scotch is 30, $80 alone. And I'm like, they know that? And he's like, no. And his friend's like, dude, come on, man. And he's like, hey, they're paying for it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to get in trouble. They said order a drink, not order a case of Don Perignon. You know what I mean? Like, it's hilarious. And then but it was 25 proof, that scotch, bro.
Uh,
So this dude was like fucking tore up. Like they had to leave early.
jeez.
He didn't last a full dinner. He didn't even finish his cannoli. They're nice guys. We're shooting the shit, but I was just laughing. I was like, well, I wonder how long he's gonna make it. I'm like, you're driving. So they're going, you're driving, right? He's like, oh yeah. Because there's no way that's gonna work out. They had to go to Riverside.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Long. It's a good little truck. Little drive.
Oh, it's paint over.
What's the weather like there today? Any cooler?
Yeah, it's like rainy.
Huh. Is it muggy in that room, or is it a little better?
It's muggy in my room. I have to have a fan going. I don't know. It's my complex, bro. Because it's fine outside. It's horrible inside. I don't know. They got this new management who hasn't never introduced herself to anybody, and now sending out notes, laying down. They're changing all the parking. Everyone gets a new spot. I'm like, why do we have to have new spots? You know,
Right. Because they didn't like their parking spot.
I'm the wife submitted an application somewhere she's perfect for in another state, and they do pay to relocate there. And so I'm just praying, like if there is a fucking Jeebus, let this
Right.
go through so I can get the fuck out of this place. I'm so done. I cannot begin to describe how done I am.
Do you have a favorite Spider-Man? Like look?
Yeah, the one in the black costume because he's fucking easy to color. I hate doing the webs, bro. I can't begin to describe to you. You know, the first thing I ever did in t-shirts was I was the guy. They're like, "Hey, you're new. Clean up the webs on all these Spider-Mans." They'd hand me Spider-Man art, and I have to go and pad out every fucking web on Spider-Man. You know,
All right.
every movie I'd sit there with the pad and go over and stroke and I mean, I'm sitting here doing it to my own art now, but does I'll be honest, it doesn't make it much better. And I'm not even like doing it like I'm not even being accurate. I think though my favorite would be the Spider Clan. So,
Yeah.
you know. I like Elseworld shit, man, because people can die.
Right.
You know, to me, that's why it's like people ask me, "You looking forward to Star Wars or Batman?" And I'm like, "Star Wars." Like what? I said, "Dude, I'm looking forward to Batman, but in Star Wars, people can die." Let's all be honest here. No one's dying in Batman versus Superman, except nameless millions of people in the city. Like,
Right.
you know, the Spider Clan shit was pretty dope. I combined Spider-Man with ninjas. Can't get any better than that.
Pretty much. Anthony Jeselnik, stand-up comedian, has a new stand-up comedy. Um, I'd have to look up the name, but I think you should download and watch it. It's on Netflix, but I think you'd really, I think it's right up your alley.
Text me the link
Let me
or
see.
his name. I'm never gonna remember Jezel's Blexy.
Yeah, it's it's good though, and like the first two jokes, and he just stands there and kind of looks at the crowd. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just reading you. I want to see, I want to see how this is gonna go." And they're fucked up jokes, but I think you'll like it. And he shows, and the camera guys turn to the crowd, and you just see like certain women not laughing once they're just angry. It's the best.
It's probably one of those like 2 drink minimums. You know, it's like free to get in, pack the house, get some drinks, and then they didn't know.
Oh no, he his his show is probably cost. I mean, he's got his own show on Comedy Central, and
No. Yeah, but they
but
they don't always sell the
oh,
seats
okay,
out. They just let them in. You see what I mean?
oh, okay, yeah,
The audience is like. I mean, even when you go to the improv and like Norm's there, like those tickets, like half of them are free. You see what I mean? They're gonna make sure that it's sold out one way or the other, you know, or it's packed. As long as you're buying drinks, they don't care. But yeah, I mean, if it's a stage show, you don't. I mean, HBO, it's hard to say with those because unless he was doing an automatic tour and then they went and filmed it, you know. Like when I went and saw the man, like I used to see the man show all the time, dude. You know, like you get a ticket, but they didn't cost money. You know, I'm not saying the guy can't sell shit out. I'm just saying like if people are that disgusted, then they didn't know, then you know, chances are, I don't know, man. Some people are just stupid. Like when the South Park movie came out, you know, but I was like, how could you possibly be offended?
right.
Like this cartoon's not new. You know, time was already like 3 or 4 years old. You know, like
I just did a screenshot of the thing and just sent that to you.
That's fine.
So good. Do you like the Star Wars Battlefront games?
No, I'm looking forward to the new one though. I like the older ones. We'll see. I would not buy it at launch though, just because it won't work. I don't care. It's not gonna
Right.
work. I mean, come on. How many Battlefield games work at launch? The answer is zero. I'm busy playing Dragon Quest Heroes right now anyway, so but I'll end up picking it up. Two things I don't do with big budget games like EA games. I don't buy them at launch, and I sure as shit don't buy the fucking DLC packs. I mean, I learned my lesson even with Arkham Knight, dude. It's like I
Right.
thought, well, I'll get the DLC pack because I want the Batman outfit. Then you find out you can't use the Batmobile, except for special missions and shit. Like, what is this? Like they're like, well, because they couldn't change the vehicle because it aims like a tank. I'm like, the Batmobile operating like a tank is the one thing I didn't want from the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
So why don't you just fucking make it so you can reskin? So when you release the Batmobile, you can use it during the whole game. You know? Seems to make sense to Rob. Like,
Right.
I don't know about that.
All right. All right.
What are you doing for Halloween?
Nothing. I don't know. No plans that I know of. You?
Well, if I can get this Golgar's ship actually going, I was going to debut it on Periscope just to kind of start getting that going.
Oh, nice. Oh, wait. Halloween during the day. I'm gonna be at a comic book shop during the day. I forgot about that, but that's about it. I think like from I don't know 11 to 4 or some shit. They invited me, so maybe I could just sell a few things. I don't know. I say yes to those things, and then sometimes I just don't go or forget about them.
Mm.
Yeah. Get your rope. Get your rope. Do you ever miss like the tanks and guns and stuff of the army, all that kind of stuff?
I don't miss tanks. Tanks are killing machines. And what I mean is they're going to kill you before they kill anyone else. Like they're incredibly dangerous. Every day I worked on one, I feared I'd lose a finger.
Uh,
There
that
wasn't a
sucks.
day, you know.
All right.
The thing I miss from the military is uh, one, you never have to worry about losing your job or going homeless. You don't. I know I'm going to eat and I got a home. So two, miss the margin. You but you know, I would be the. This is why they don't recruit 30-year-olds or 30-plus-year-olds. In the military. Uh, I would not. You know, I don't. You can't buy into this bullshit. We're trying to gun for terrorism when you're 30, 37. Like, you're like, no, that's not true. You know, you got to be 19 and I'm doing it to serve my country. You got to really believe in shit. So, but I did enjoy marching with like 500 dudes. Shit right there. Like, yeah, start some shit. I dare anyone out there right now, start some shit. How many people have ever had 500 people backing them up? Have you? You know what I'm saying? You ever have 500 people all with you? Like you're on the same side no matter what.
All right.
It's a. I'm gonna tell you, it changes things about you. Yeah, you have a slightly different worldview. That's why, man. That's why I come across. It's not that, but it's like that mentality is why. Man, I'm a hard personality, Brandon. I'm uncompromising. I'm closest thing to Rorschach without the murder and violence there is. You know, believe in what I believe in, and that's just the fucking way. No matter what, it's going to happen. So I was good for that in terms of the military.
Right.
Not good for that in terms of a corporation where you got to toe some bullshit line. Yeah, yeah, like working for a higher purpose. But back back did not survive tanks.
Yeah. Doesn't sound fun.
Jesus,
Did you hear that?
no,
Oh.
is that your dog?
Yeah, she wants to go outside. I'm just waiting till Jessica calls me in about a couple minutes, see where she's at, and then I'll. I don't want to say the words out loud, but TAKE out out.
Yeah, well, hey, it doesn't matter. Because when my dog hears those words, she just runs under the fucking table. The dog I ever met that hates walks.
Not this one.
I mean, dude, visibly starts to shake. Thought of putting on a harness and going for a walk.
That's weird.
Tell me about it. I got to the first episode of Arrow and Flash. I haven't seen the second yet.
I couldn't make it past like I'm all caught up on Flash, and then I forgot Arrow was even back on, so I went to watch it, and I got where did I get? I got to the truck robbing scene, and his mask is crooked. Uh,
The costume's not going to keep. The season's good. It's worth sticking through.
all right. I just wasn't in the mood for it after just seeing it. And his mask is crooked, and that big ass 50 cal chopper gun, whatever. I don't know guns very well, but it's not even putting dents in the semi doors. I'm just like, really? Like, I don't know. I was just not in the mood for it. I was being too critical, I guess. I'll probably give it another try here.
Yeah, you're overthinking it.
But the Flash, I
It's,
like.
it's like when I hear people say they refuse to watch Daredevil because he has a black outfit. And then I'm like, yeah. And then you're gonna find that by the end of the show, you're like, why did he give him the red outfit? He should only have the black outfit. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and then you could have been like, well, where's his yellow and red outfit?
That's what I say. Hey, I want the yellow and red outfit.
Right.
And they're like, huh? You know?
Right. Then yeah, then the real fans are like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, I want the yellow, red. Give me a big OD. They're like, why would you do that? I'm like, that was his costume. It's kind of like when they were like, yeah, they might put the gray Hulk in the movie. And people are like, Hulk's not gray. I'm like,
First off, I'm gonna just be honest with you, man. If there's any reason why I fucking boycotted Ant-Man, it has everything to do with the fucking bullshit I went through in that goddamn Gray Hulk. You know? I cannot begin to tell you how that shit ruined my fucking life for like 3 months. Every other fucking week, they were changing the style guide. One minute he's fucking gray, the next minute he's green. You know?
right,
The dates are changing on the fucking when they fight on the shirts, and then no, this needs to be changed, but it's in production. It's ridiculous. Like 800 fucking. I don't know what the hell happened on Ultron, but I guarantee you, it was all behind the scenes bullshit.
huh? So I don't read comics much anymore lately, right? I know you don't at all, but I was just happened to check of someone's feed, and it was like Groot, the new Guardians of the Galaxy. Groot is gray. The Thing is on the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Kitty Pryde is now Star Lord.
Yeah, dude, if you read Marvel, I mean, you good luck. You know.
I mean, you miss like a couple months, and all of a sudden everything's completely.
Yeah, and Galactus is on like the Avengers and shit. So go have fun with that. You think I'm joking?
No, you're probably right. I just don't know about it. That's why I'm laughing. It's
Yeah.
probably true.
Honestly, man, I had this conversation with the two guys last night. They're like, "Oh, I was like, do you guys buy comics? Like, I'm like, I don't know what to
Right.
talk about." And they're like, "Well, some stuff." He's like, "You looking forward to the Dark Knight Mass race?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to that." And he's like, "Well, why?" I'm like, "Well, because did you read the Dark Knight Straight Back?" Like, I'm like, he's like, "Oh, but Azarella's write it." I'm like, first off, I like All Star Batman. This has nothing to do with the writing, right? I don't like the art. You know, He's like, what about Andy Kubert? I'm like, I think it's the lesser of the two Kubert brothers.
Yes,
Like
that's what I think.
Andy Kubert is, but look, he's not a bad artist. I'm just like Andy Kubert's
No.
more Neil Adams. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I need like the
And
Dark Knight should be
Adam's more
Capullo.
shapes.
Yeah, it's rendered figures and like Alan Davis kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Which is fine, but it's like not the Dark Knight Returns universe. I'm like, it should be like Capullo or you know, fucking Sean Murphy or
That'd be good. The
yeah.
Adam
I
West
hear he turns that
Talia.
shit down. So I don't want to work on it. I'm like, you're a fuck. I don't. You know what, man? No, guys with talent that just turn shit down because they're like, I don't want to know the burden of it. I'm like, you know what? Fuck all you. You've had a nice career. That's what I think. you know, the guy's been a great artist since the day I first saw his shit, like 12 years ago. You know,
Right.
and it's like, I remember when he was fucking like couldn't get any work. He's like, oh, this industry, he can't even work, and now he's like, oh, I'll turn down the fucking Dark Knight. Ah, no, I don't want to hear it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hardship.
yeah. It's tough to be talented. I only make 10 grand, a page or some shit. Like it's ridiculous. He does what he's yeah. It's like 10 grand an issue. That's what he makes.
That's gotta be
Well,
tough.
it's not much.
I don't even know how can you live off that.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. It's just here's my thing, dude. I'm gonna get off the subject because I know it's fucking stressful for you. I know you got family shit and everything. It's just you gotta see when I'm at IDW, right, or any other fucking comic company I've been to. You know how there's some great artists like the Sean Murphys, right? There's a lot of shit, Brandon. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Do you know how much shit there is? Like, there's so much shit you don't even see it. You know, and it pains me on my own career, dude. It pains me that I'm like, why have I had to? This fucking, like
Hmm.
I should be doing well. This is ridiculous. So, you know, but yeah, fucking comics, man. Marvel's a joke. Straight up, dude. Marvel's a joke. It's a fucking joke. It's a goof of a joke at this point. I don't get their shit, dude. I don't relate to it in any way. You know, everything they do has become a gimmick. Okay, now Thor's a chick. Now Captain America's black. Like first off, you already did that once in the '90s, and you did the black thing back with Rick Baker, fucking back in like 2003. You know what I mean? They
Right.
go, well, that technically wasn't Captain America. That was part of the Super Soldier. I'm like, fuck you. That was, something. Like
Right.
it's just a joke, dude. Like I don't get it. If I buy one comic, and it doesn't have Capullo in it this year, it's going to be Spawn with the one where Larson's starting to draw now.
Oh yeah.
Larson's drawing and McFarlane's inking. I'm up for that. I thought that time Larson he did that issue with the Freak, right? And I thought that came out really well. The blending between the two guys.
Hmm.
So really looking forward to that actually. But I don't know, man. I can't. don't get this stuff, you know? Where they're going with it, how you're even supposed to care. I don't care. I don't. And they tell me, what about Spider Gwen? I'm like, um, okay, nifty design, female Spider-Man, don't care. I don't. The universe is something that matters to me. Like when you ask me like, which Spider-Man, Spider Clan? Well, that's because it's a separate universe.
Right.
It's a thing. I don't want Spider Clan, and then now he's got Rocket Raccoon, the sidekick, and a fucking. You know what Marvel feels like now when that fucking asshole kid shoves every soda into his fucking bottle at 7-Eleven and he thinks he's being a genius. No one ever thought to shove every soda into your cup, and it's like that doesn't make a good soda, man. You know, I
Right.
put all the sodas in my cup. Like now it's just suicide. No, it's fucking shit. And I don't get it. I don't like it. I could tell you, having worked on those fucking shirts for as long as I have, every time they do that, I just groan because I know I'm gonna have to sit in some and I don't do it now, but I'd have to sit in some bullshit meeting, being told how can we make Marvel shit work when they're doing that. You know,
Right.
that's what drives me nuts about it, dude. Because it's like they're just making their shit harder. You know, totally harder to sell. Like it's not relatable. Man, when I did buy Marvel comics back in the day, it was for like X-Men and shit. I want to see who was doing what to who, what's going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
How are you supposed to follow this shit? I don't know, man. Like, it seems like comic suicide. In a way, to me. It's like every month is the Secret Wars now. I don't care. They got a whole universe full of superheroes that I don't like. Point. You know,
Right.
I want to, but I don't like them. I want to like them. I mean, I drew this Spider-Man. You can't get this kind of Spider-Man out of a Marvel comic. You know what I mean? Where are you gonna get this? It's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. Hey, why don't you just fucking? I don't know, dude. I'm dumbstruck by that company. Honestly, don't know how it continues to operate.
Movies.
Can you imagine if every fucking year they just rebooted Harry Potter? What that would do? You know?
This year, Harry Potter is Latino.
Why don't
And
yeah? Why don't we just apply the Marvel bullshit formula to every other fucking property? You know? And now the Muppets have joined the cast of Star Trek.
you say that until there's a Muppet crossover, and then you're like, I called it.
Yeah, and then what's crazy is, dude, like then it becomes something, right? You're like, that actually happened. That's fucking
Yeah.
weird. And you're like, well, I remember this all started like 10 years ago, and they started doing like now all the covers are now they're monkeys,
Oh yeah.
now they're vampires. Remember that?
Yep.
When all this shit started, it wasn't enough to have an ultimate universe. Now they have to just reboot universes every fucking week. You know, every week. It just repulses me, honestly. I think it's worse for the industry than anything Image Comics ever did in the 90s. Because worse than controversy, it creates something worse than controversy. Uh,
Confusion.
no, 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 no. Disengagement, right? Disillusionment. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, well, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. You know? The only country that thinks that you have to reboot something to make it, palatable for new readers. Well, the big numbers scare off people. Hasn't stopped the audience of One Piece or Dragon Ball Z. You
Right.
know? I don't think that's true. You know? I don't think any of that's true. I think your fucking bullshit stories and your horrendous. Look, I come back to this, man. Most comics are not written by, you know what I mean? They're not all Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You know,
Mhm.
they're largely, you know, but someone like Scott Snyder stands out. You're like, holy shit, someone could fucking write. This is amazing. It's not just, you know, who did what to who. You know, now we'll shake it up. On the Fantastic Four, we're gonna make it two people, but we're gonna call it Fantastic Four. But she's gonna have someone in her uterus, so you know, they're twins. So in Sue Storm, she's got a Thing and a Groot in there. You know what I mean? And then they're having uterus battles, and we can have Scotty Young draw a fucking uterus baby cover. You know, and then they're fighting in the uterus. They're fighting in the Macra. Ant Man teams up with the uterus baby. Like, I mean, dude, for real, like, like it sounds crazy, but it's not that far off, right?
Right.
Like just I think you know the story sessions for that company have to be them just sitting around with some beers, just rambling off nonstop. Just keep going, don't breathe for 30 minutes. That's our year's worth of storylines. You know, did you get it all? Yeah. Okay, now just transcribe it and let's fucking do it.
Right.
Like, put the artist to work. You know, get Jim Chung in here, not fucking with someone's wife. Like, I hope he calls me on that someday. I heard you've been saying on your podcast that I sleep around people's wives. I said, no, actually, you don't, but you try to. That's the problem. Like, you weren't there, man. You're right. It's worse than the spider clone. It's worse. The whole universe is fucked up. I saw that put the word battle books on there, and I just about fucking I threw my papers across my desk. You know, right up there. Remember when was that Billy Tushy tried to get them to do battle books where you fight with the book? You know, like
Yeah.
why can't Billy Tushy just write some great fucking stories? Like maybe some I didn't have a lot of female characters. Maybe you can just draw She-Hulk and write some cool She-Hulk stories. Like what got me to buy a Marvel comic was Marvel Knights. Hey, Quesada's drawing fucking Daredevil. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Kevin
Mhm.
Smith's gonna write it. Oh, I want to read that. You want to see what they make. Marvel doesn't believe in their creators. I'm saying it right now. Marvel doesn't believe in creators. Marvel believes in Marvel. Period. I think they're the least talent friendly studio there is in the entire industry. You know, they keep their friends in the loop and they keep them employed. That's true. But name the last time you were like, oh, that guy's going to be working on Marvel. I can't wait to see what they do with the property. Name the last time. Marvel Knights. Maybe Joe Matt when he was coming back for Wolverine. That's it. You know, because their system isn't set up for you to like think like that. I take it comes back to image. You know, we can't let like creators, you know, be synonymous with success at this company because that would run the risk of, you know,
Them doing their own thing.
I mean, you disagree with me? I mean,
No, no, not at all.
hey, we just got a nice comment. Dark and Mars says, I agree with your opinion on what Marvel's doing now. I understand they're trying to add some diversity, but how about instead of changing established characters, they create new ones?
Because everyone's afraid to create characters because then Marvel will just steal it and then you'll never get paid for it. So artists and writers don't want to create new characters unless they're doing their own thing.
Well, they're not telling stories, man. They're just inventing events. They
Yeah.
should just rename the whole fucking, you know, movie. I mean, hey, look, you know what's funny about it? I'm gonna say this. You know, I was gonna say, why don't they rename the company Event Comics? But then I had to think that was Joe Quesada's company. And look who runs Marvel. So I don't know, man. Like, I'm uh, I'm confused, dude. It confuses me. I can't even buy the books for the art anymore because I don't want a book filled with a bunch of SketchUp models. And I know half these artists are drawn over 3D models of figures too. By the way, I could see it.
Right.
I could see in a few of those issues. Oh, this Wolverine's awfully like blocky. You know what I mean? Like, and look, he's rotated and just you can just see it. Like, wow, they're tracing over models. Well, I'm gonna meet deadlines, and I'm like, yeah, I get you, dude. When I was a kid, you heard like Charles Vess would be working on Spider-Man. You just couldn't wait to see what that looked like. They should be doing Marvel Comics Presents where they rotate in fan artists. Say, hey, dude, you're fucking do some good art. You want to do 3 pages or 4 pages in Marvel Spotlight? I mean, that's what they used to do. That's how they cultivated new talent. Where did Sam Keith get his start? Marvel Comics Presents. That shit doesn't exist anymore.
No.
You know? There's no room for it. There's no opportunity. There's no. Their company is not designed in a way for the magic to occur. You know?
Right.
They think they're going to invent the fucking magic. And that's the problem with Marvel, having worked for them. They dictate now what they say was going to be the next big thing. Well, we're pushing Ant-Man. I'm like, what if no one wants Ant-Man? No, that's the next thing. How do you know that's the next thing? Well, because we got a movie coming out. It's going to be pop. Everyone's going to know about it. I'm like, that doesn't mean anyone cares.
Right.
Like, I mean, case in point, dude, Guardians of the Galaxy did great financially at the box office. Didn't sell shit for merchandise. You know?
Uh-huh.
Confuse me, but that's a fact. Or I care about creators. I care about people who make stuff. When they make awesome stuff, I want to. I've seen people who draw webcomics. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if they did a fucking small little. Remember when Mike Kunkel could draw some fucking Spider-Man? Remember when that shit would happen? Gone. You know? Remember Mike Kunkel drawing anything in the Marvel universe anymore? Never happened. Pendleton Ward writes fucking 4 issues of Fantastic Four. Mind blown, right? Would
Right.
you buy fucking Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Pendleton Ward? That's great. What would that be like? I don't know, man. I'd love to see that.
That'd be cool.
I just said a reason to buy something, that didn't involve some bullshit fucking shtick. But that's just not going to happen with Marvel. I go back. Marvel doesn't like creators. At the detriment of any future work I might ever do with them, I'm saying it because that's how I feel. It's all Marvel. Prove me wrong.
Right.
Those guys who did all the Banner Saga, we hit them up and they're going to draw a 3 issue limited thing on the Thor. It's going to look like the Banner Saga. You're like, whoa, I wonder what that'll look like. That'll be like a mature looking Sleeping Beauty thing. Oh, that'd be fucking trippy, right?
Yeah.
Nope, never going to happen.
I used to love the Marvel what ifs.
Yeah, the what ifs. But they'll be like, well, they don't really sell. I'm like, well, fuck, dude. Like, what does not really sell? Well, 10,000 copies or 20,000 copies. And I don't know. I'm like, you guys are telling me you can't find a way.
Right.
You know, what if Marvel just fucking had their own version of Imagine Effects, which had backup stories and how creators made stuff, and they cultivate new people to get. There's no incentive for people to sit around. Look, having had been personally sort of gunned down by some of Marvel's lawyers,
Uh-huh.
they hate artists. That's just how I believe it. I'm sure Mark Bagley's taken care of. And Della Avoto or whatever those guys are. They're all good. I'm sure Alex Ross will continue to draw neon pink fucking Spider-Man covers. But in the meantime, Hey, let Robbie Rodriguez just take over the whole industry. You know, we need more guys to take a shit on other. We need more artists who take a shit on other artists too. That's the future. Yeah, we need more artists who shit on other artists. I think that's it was hard last night because they were, he works with IDW and they're like, oh yeah, Robbie Rodriguez, he's so great, he did this over here, and I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, is that the guy who invented Spider Gwen? I should have done it, but I didn't want to.
Right.
It cause waves, guys. I'm powerless. Even I admit I'm powerless. I have this stream, and I'm certain 3 years from now I'll lose a job over the shit I say here.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty certain of it.
With your track record, I'm gonna say yeah. I'd bet on that one. I give that one a good 90%.
I'll lose jobs and friends because it happens. I want to like Marvel. I really do. I want to.
Hear that, Marvel? He wants to.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'm the only one who's, obviously not. I already got a comment from someone who's like, hey, I'd love to read Son of Odin and Thor and shit. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah. Cool part about that trip last night is, the guys who were at IDW used to be a Wildstorm, so a few of them have a few of Jim Lee's pages from X-Men and Fantastic Four on the wall. It's actual art.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Because Jim was generous when they'd pull late nights to help out with shit. You'd give everyone a page of some stuff or whatever.
I mean, you could have should have just took that original turtle draw and took off running. Then once you get caught, say, "Oh, it's
I
just
was
a."
probably the most in shape guy there, honestly. There was one other guy that looked like he actually bench lift, but that doesn't mean he can run. Oh, so
Right.
there's this wedding going on outside, 'cause, it's a military barracks, or former, and so they rented out for weddings, and it was Marines, and the guys were like, "Oh, we should go crash the party." I'm like, "Those are Marines, right?" He's like, they were joking around. They're like, "Oh, I know how to," nah, 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 nah. And I'm like, "You might know how to fight or do it." I'm like, "You don't know how to. You can't outrun them. If you're
Right.
losing, I guarantee you're not gonna outrun them. Those dudes are running fucking 10 miles every other day, bro. You run 10 miles every other day." And every one of them to stop and think about, like, you were kind of right. Like, you never think about, like, if you go fight with a Marine, he's gonna out. If you try to run away, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You better be able to win the fight because you're sure as shit not gonna be able to get out of it. Like, what if Jonan Vasquez fucking got to do just an issue of fucking Ghost Rider? What would that shit look like? Like,
We shall never know.
we'll never know. Oh, nice. I know. What about the Attack on Titan guy? What if he did? I don't know. You know what I mean? One of my favorite issues of X Men was X Men Unlimited issue 37. When it came out, it was 3 part. It was a 3. parts. It was a story broken up into parts where you saw inside Xavier's mind, but they had three different artists work on it, and one was Joshua Middleton, one was Scotty Young, and the other one was Mike Kunkel, and Carrie Andrews did. He wrote it and did cover art. And I remember looking at it like this is a landmark issue, and my Joe was like, I don't know. I'm like, these guys are gonna be something, you know. Like,
Right.
I don't like Scotty Young. His feet are huge. That I remember that. I'm like, well, you like Sam Keith? He draws huge feet. Well, but that's no. No,
I
you
mean,
said it.
most
Own it.
most artists do draw big feet, anyways. I mean,
Huh?
Ramos. A lot of artists draw big feet. Ramos
Ramos. He's
draws
like, I don't like
big.
Ramos. But Joe like Sam Keith. You know, like your logic is flawed, Padawan. Oh shit! See, they even got me saying that shit, Jedi. I want, if I could eliminate one word from my vocabulary, it would be Padawan. All right, honestly, I can live with Nazi. That's fucked up. But I can live with the word Nazi more than I can live with Padawan. Yeah,
At least it has a nice
Brody and me,
sense.
I related to Brody's character a lot. That's all I'm saying. Some vicious shit to say. Midi chlorian would be the second word, and then I might eliminate racist and shit like that. But yeah. Padawan. I wasn't against that shit, just at first, the idea of it. I wasn't against the idea of it.
Hey, what are you doing?
Hmm.
And all right, I gotta hop off. Jessica's on her way home. I gotta get stuff ready. I'm gonna go to the store. Take her for a walk.
All right.
All right, talk to you later.
Yep. Before I shade the rest of this in. I'm gonna have to rebuild that separately. Hmm. Well, that's it. Complete. Fun, 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 fun. Well, I got layouts I got to do and more Kickstarter stuff I got to get to. So I will be streaming very soon. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.